I am a sucker for the view from seat. It will
The
make
view the
it'll
view
make me
from
upgrade.
seat is a high end feature.
It is so good. The 3D model. I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at what does the ceiling look like from here. Okay, good, good.
Make sure you're
I'll look
not
at the
gonna
ground
make
to
sure
see
you're not
if it
gonna
has.
wind up on that Twitter account that shows the most
Oh, dude,
obstructed
Michael,
seats
that's
in
my
college
guy,
sports.
dude. That's my
Yeah.
guy. I've had him on my show, dude.
Have you
Dude,
really?
yeah, dude. He's
Of course you
oh,
have.
please have him on the college football one. He's
Okay. He's
he's
fit. I
so
mean,
good. Oh,
yeah, I mean, I think he's doing a
so
public
good.
service for everybody.
He is. He is.
That's a great public
Dude, he's so
service.
good. But oh, dude, the locked on seat though, I need is I look down see if they have a cup. I was just saying, does this seat come with a cup or not?
Yeah.
A cup holder.
Yeah, gotta have it.
I'll be a sucker for the view of the seat. Okay,
The view of
but
the
yeah,
seat is fantastic, which is why you should check out Game Time. But
yeah,
let's get into basketball talk here,
please,
Ryan.
please.
Let's get the less pleasant out of the way, and then we'll end on a positive note here. Women's basketball is in a precarious spot, losing Kennedy Basham, Grace VanSlooten, and Chance Gray essentially all on the same day. There was a transfer that they brought in whose name is eluding me off the top of my head at the moment, but those were three highly touted recruits. They just had an unthinkably disappointing season. I mean, it's Matt Prame tweeted this out, and he was 100% right to frame it this way. It's almost impossible to think about where this program was 4 years ago. They were at the top of college basketball. They were going to win the national championship. They beat Team USA. Team USA, because they had Sabrina and Sabali and the whole gang, and it was a squad. And they have gone from the absolute mountaintop to I don't know how else to describe this year other than rock bottom, because they lost, what was it, 14 straight to end the year. Yeah, Ryan's holding up is that the 2019 2020 women's basketball roster?
That's what they get.
That was that was just a bunch of squads.
Dude,
I would
Sedona
also
didn't even play. Prince didn't even play.
yeah. Oh yeah. Sedona Prince
On the
got
bench,
got
6'7".
yeah, and she was awesome. But what do you make of where Kelly Graves is at? Because I think that it's strange, it's bizarre to see a guy that took a program that doesn't have the richest tradition of winning necessarily. Like, all the winning for women's basketball in my lifetime has been with Kelly Graves at the helm, and this season they just really bottomed out. And I honestly, I watch a fair amount of it. I follow it. I don't know what to make of it right now.
I think there's a lot of things going on, and I think there has to be to get in that direction. I mean, I'm wearing the Sabrina gear. I mean, I love.
Also, real quick, Ryan, I'm not trying to tick anybody off, because I think Caitlin Clark is awesome, but Sabrina walked so that Caitlin Clark could run. All right, continue.
Yeah, well, and that's fine. I'm from the Cheryl Miller era. I don't want to date myself here, but Cheryl,
the OG.
The OG, yeah. No, I think there's a lot of things going on. I think one, I think Kelly Graves is a great coach. He's not forgot how to coach. This happens to teams sometimes, where you climb to the mountaintop and it doesn't work out for you because of COVID, and then a variety of other things. You never got that same buzz. He was pretty close to not getting Sabrina either, right? And Sabrina kind of came at the end there. The story of Sabrina is kind of the classic, right? She didn't tell anybody.
I did not know that.
Oh, the Sabrina story is wild because she just showed up at Oregon. She just showed up at the practice, and he turned around. He was like, You're playing for. She didn't do an announcement or anything. She just showed up to practice. Her dad and her just got in the car and drove to Oregon, and she decided like at the last minute. She was like, I think I'm just gonna go to Oregon. She just was like drove to practice. So the thing is like,
that's insane. That's actually insane.
It is. You should look this up. It's a cool story the way she tells it. But like so if she doesn't come, what happens, right? It's not that team was still stacked, but you're right. Oregon has never really been the destination program for women's sports. And I do think, and not to be like gender biased or gender specific here, because I know we're in the era where we don't want to be too much, but I'm a youth coach, and I've coached for a long time, and I've been around high school kids for 25 years now. Girls programs are cyclical sometimes, and they rely around engagement to friends being on the team, to wanting to be a part of that group, and to really locking in. And I'll give you an example. The women's basketball team for Oregon State last year is a perfect story, right? The year before, they get bounced, and they're like, you know what? Let's lock in and let's just like play together. And they like went to the rec. They went to the, I don't know, Dixon Hall or whatever it is. And they just played and they just played and played and played. And they got really, really in sync together. The whole rest of the conference didn't know that. None of the media knew that. They got picked 10th to start the year. They were one of the best teams in this conference. And this was one of the best.
They wound up in the Elite Eight, and it wasn't by accident.
But there's one of the best women's basketball conferences in the country.
Yeah. No, it's the best. It was the best.
I think it was the best this year. And every week was a gauntlet, and these girls played great, and no one expected it. So I think things can change really quickly. I also think that it can change for the bad and it can change for the good. So I tend to think positively. I still believe in Kelly. I think there's good things going on there, but everybody gets older. And at some point in time, your time is kind of passing you by a little bit. Not that the game is passing us by, not any of that sort of stuff. It's just the connection. For me personally, I've been a teacher for 20 years. I don't have the same connections I had with students 10 years ago. It's just facts. I'm a better teacher because I know more, but I don't have that connection from youth. Don't have that sort of thing. And it's like you just said about Coach Terry. What if Coach Terry was 59? You know what I'm saying?
Malik Terry, the offensive line coach.
Yes. Yeah. And to go back to that kind of saying like how cool it was to have that young coach. I did the same thing. We didn't talk about Coach Laughlin very much, but I think the next running back coach will be younger, right? Coach Laughlin was older. And so it's like, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of things going on for the girls program. I do think, though, you bring in 2 good freshmen and you bring in some other players. And
they have a 5-star point guard coming in.
Yes. And you bring in some transfers, and it can change quickly. At the same time, the conference that they're going into is known for some really good women's basketball, too, historically. Yep. So they're going to have their hands full no matter what. But I do think that over there, women's basketball is maybe a little bit more respected than it is out here, media-wise. And I do think that they'll be in okay shape.
I mean, the Pac-12 was about as good as it got in women's basketball. And thankfully, they won't have to go against Caitlin Clark in the Big Ten.
No, but men's basketball, I think, was completely rescued by just that tournament run. Because
I thought it was huge.
Had they not done that tournament run, we'd be talking the same thing about people would be talking the same thing about Dana this year. Oh, you didn't do it again. You didn't do it. I mean, and because that noise was already happening.
But okay, so I agree. The conversation would be different, and I think the momentum, the galvanization, the reassuring fans, I think all that took place with that Pac-12 tournament and brief NCAA tournament run. Like they should have been in the Sweet 16. Do they win that game against Tennessee? I don't know. I don't know, but I do know that they were every bit as good as Creighton was. Should have won the game, didn't. Okay, but like. The season ending that way was such a huge success, and I think the momentum that it created, because it was seen a little bit as starting to fall away, was Dana losing his magic, and then it was like, oh nope, he lines Rubik's cubes. That's what he does. But here's the thing, Ryan. I felt that way, and I think a lot of basketball fans did when the season ended like that, and it was so thrilling and so fun, and Kuznard and Dante playing their butts off, and they got to play in the tournament. I'm so happy for those guys. And Kuznard doing it in front of his grandma, just icing on the cake. Here's the thing, though. They've had Brennan Rigsby transfer out, Oquendo, Kuznard, and Dante gone to eligibility. They haven't added a transfer yet. I'm not saying it's chaos time, but like that's a question I have right now. You're going to have to add transfer. They have one high school recruit, and it's a 6'8", 3-star center who I don't know how much exactly they're expecting of. So portal moves have to be on the way. I don't know when, but it's got to be sometime.
Yeah. And Dana's, I think, comfortable with the portal. The way he's always worked, I think he
likes a JUCO. He likes his JUCO guys.
He likes it. JUCO guys are hungry.
Yep.
He remember when he at the end of the year was frustrated. Mm-hmm. He said, "I'll go coach at JUCO." He says those guys are hungry.
Those guys are dogs, is what he said.
Those guys are dogs, is what he said. Dude, I love you, Spencer. I'm telling you, the idea behind Dana is just very simple. He just wants good basketball to be played hard. And the harder you play, the better you're going to play, your better results are going to be. And that's why people don't like the NBA now, is because the guys don't play hard. Guys
sometimes they just don't play.
Don't play at all. But these guys are getting triple doubles in the first half. And so it's like these guys from previous generations are like, what?
Yeah.
I was getting thrown to the floor for what, you know? And so again, as things change, you got to adapt. I think Dana's done a pretty good job adapting. And I think that when everybody else zigged, he zagged a little bit. And I love the way that he leaned in with Dante. And I thought it kind of did almost like David Shaw with Stanford those years, where he's like, you know what? We're not going to be able to run with you. We don't have enough guys. We got to tighten this thing way up. We're going to slow this game way down. We're going to do that little press thing just to kind of control the clock a little bit and slow you down a little bit. Not even to really try to steal the ball because that takes too much energy from us.
Oh, I love token pressure.
And then it's a token pressure. And then it's like a video game.
From what I see in college basketball, like you can't do it in the NBA. Guys are too big, too fast, too skilled, and whatnot. But in college basketball, there's no reason to not do token pressure. It requires minimal effort.
In high school as well.
Yeah, and it takes at least 7 seconds off the shot clock.
And high school has shot clock now as well. And so it's like the idea is you're just trying to stretch those guys out. And to be honest, most of those guys only want to work with 13 seconds on the shot clock anyway. So it's like the way these modern offenses work, all it is just a pick and roll, or it's a screen, or it's a little bit of a cut, or a little bit. I mean, it's a little shimmy shake with the dribble, and you're trying to, or just step back three. Wait the entire shot clock just to go step back three. Oh, Lord. Anyway, I do think the big question next year is who are you going to dump it down to? And, if
Nate Biddle, maybe.
Well, Nate is still one of these guys that likes to stretch. He's really good from.
But he can play inside.
Oh, he's good. No, he can play from a variety of places.
But is he Dante? No, he's not Dante. Nobody's Dante.
He's not this guy, and clear it out. Dante was kind of like Dream. He was a little like Hakeem Olajuwon this year. He played so well on both sides of the floor. He felt a little bit like Dream. And again, Hakeem Olajuwon, for people who knew, was a different type of center who was a very athletic center, but incredibly strong. And Dante was just so strong in the middle. And Nate's not really that guy. Nate's a 7-footer. Nate can stretch it a little bit. Nate's got good moves down low. He'll kind of shoot the little jumper over you. But Dante was over the top of you. He was gonna hand mini Shaq type, right? He was just strong.
Yeah. That's what he was. He just bodied people out of the way. Like his footwork was.
Everybody fouled him.
Yeah, his footwork was solid and everything, but mostly just back guys down, kind of shouldered him out of the way, and then just went up and finished or dunked the basketball. But I always thought he was at his best when they were running the pick and roll with him. I thought that
because closing out to the hoop, get out of his way.
Yeah, and I think that they really leaned into that down the stretch. Kuznar Dante pick and roll is the best play. And guess what? They ran it. They ran it quite a bit. But I know the portal moves are going to arrive. There'll be one or two JUCO guys. I just don't know who. I just don't know when. But we'll just have to wait and see. Ryan Winter, Sports Chat 503 on YouTube, on X, formerly known as Twitter. Ryan, always great to talk to you, my man.
Good to talk with you, man. Thank you so much, all the Sports Chat fans and Locked On Ducks. Let's go, Ducks.
Indeed. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day, a great weekend, and as always, go Ducks.